There's a phenomenon that I have observed in myself that I find deeply fascinating, and I was thinking that I would share it and see if anyone else has maybe experienced it as well. There was a person in my life who was, as time went by, someone who betrayed my trust in significant ways. And when I attempted to interact with this person, my physical ability to communicate would literally shut down. And before the obvious is stated, why would you intentionally interact with someone who admitted to repeatedly betraying you in the first place? Let me address it now, because I was trying to work through a difficult period in order to help someone that I loved. It's as simply complex as that. And it was interesting because it was only really surrounding conversational topics that would result in any sort of self-disclosure. Like, if we were talking about what was going on with them and in their life on a day-to-day basis, I was able to engage easily without any sort of hesitation or restriction. I was able to discuss things that had happened in the past and my feelings surrounding said events without any issues at all. But as soon as the conversation would steer towards me and what was happening in my day-to-day life, from the mundane to the absurd and ending and everything in between, my body would just completely shut down. It was a fascinating experience to witness because it was something that I absolutely had zero control over. And this was not any sort of conscious decision that I was able to make or override on any level. It was 100% somatic. I had so many things that I wanted to say, just little experiences that I had, and even bigger news that I wanted to share. I had the complete conversational constructs in my head ready to go, and yet my mouth would not open. And it's not like it was due to something just as simple as discomfort, because discomfort is something that can be worked through or overridden. This was feeling more like some deeper internal and even subconscious system had decided for me. And I tried to convey this to the individual that I was trying to engage with, because I couldn't answer even basic questions such as, how was your day? Or what's been going on in your life lately? Or even, what did you do today? And even if my answer was something as plain and boring as, I went to Walmart and bought some groceries, it didn't matter. I couldn't physically discuss it. And it's not because I was trying to hide anything or like I had been doing something that I wouldn't want anyone to know about. It seemed to simply be that my somatic system just was not going to allow me to participate in disclosing anything about myself on any level that was not already known information, which I found to be quite compelling, because consciously I was willing to engage and even wanted to engage on a personal level, and still I physically could not get my body to cooperate. So I looked at it as my body is physically protecting me from a threat it is obviously detecting, because our bodies recognize behavioral patterns, micro expressions, inconsistencies, and subtle shifts before our conscious minds have had time to process everything in order to catch up. There are thousands of pieces of information that we are subconsciously tracking, even though we are not consciously analyzing it in any given moment. One very obvious example of this is if you touch a hot stove, you move your hand immediately. You don't sit there and consider whether or not you should move it at all. You really don't have much say in the matter. Your body responds first and for you, and the realization or conscious awareness follows. So maybe that's the same thing as when I could not physically engage. I just never experienced it in that way before. It was a total mechanism of protection. I mean, it must have been, or I mean, that's what makes the most sense to me anyway, because why else would a system that could think, reason, understand, and communicate suddenly refuse to engage with one specific individual? Like, why was the response so strong that it could not be overridden? I mean, I honestly don't know. What I do know is that I spent a long time trying to force myself to communicate normally, and my body refused every single time. And I still just find that to be incredibly fascinating.